Okay, so let's start there. What exactly is inflation accounting? So when we talk about inflation accounting is also called as price level differences. Price level accounting, why do we say it's price level accounting? Price level accounting means we all know inflation means what? Too much money chasing too few goods. So when I'm talking about inflation, I'm talking about how this particular inflation can be recorded in uh, financial accounting. One thing which we have to remember is when we talk about inflation, um, there were many years actually inflation was never taken into consideration, especially in those barter system days. So there is never a concept like inflation at all, right? But where did it start? First World War, there was heavy inflation. Second World War, the inflation increased to heights. They also say that I don't know whether I'm not sure, but they say that in uh, Germany, the the inflationary pressure was so high after the Second World War that for one loaf of bread, they say that one full bag of currency had to be taken. That was the worst circumstance. So after Second World War, they understood that inflation also should be taken into consideration to actually, understand what exactly is the current scenario of your financial statements. So when you're talking about price level changes, what we understand is that when the transaction is taken place, the transaction is not recorded, or is not taken into consideration uh, in the financial statements on that particular day's value. It means, say, for example, when I'm talking about, purchase of some goods are being purchased. So when I purchase these goods which are there, possibly I purchase in the month of November. Right. Now let us imagine that, now at present, if at all I take, the economic situation is entirely different in this COVID season. So what's happening now? What values at which I purchase that transaction, that value, they don't stand the same when I'm talking about today's, values. So what happens? Your accounts is going to give, a wrong picture. It will give a wrong picture on, what is the current income earned by an organization, or what are the correct value of your financial statements which are there, that is both assets and the liabilities which are there, right? These are not exactly correct, and the wrong pictures which are there may also lead to paying of dividends in excess. Possibly we don't have that much money, but we are thinking we have that much money, and then you are paying it off the dividends. Then in that case, what happens is you get entirely a wrong picture. So here what happens when I'm talking about inflation accounting, here price level changes which are there would have an impact of on various things, right? So I would say first, when you're talking about various things, it means I am talking about the financial statements, the transactions, various transactions which are there, current assets, current liabilities, right? They would have an impact on these, right? I talk about various expenses incurred, incomes earned, which are at different points of time in an accounting period. Say, for example, when it comes to salary, when it comes to wages, when it comes to purchase of goods, sales, all these which are there, transactions taken place in a different year, but recorded in entirely different time period. So the assets are acquired at different points of time. These are not considered. For example, you purchase an asset maybe way back before the demonetization, and the value of the demonetization has changed entirely. But that is not reflected at all. So here what happens? that assets which are there, they are acquired at different points of time, and that is not being taken into consideration. Then you have all the liabilities which are there. It means possibly you have certain creditors amounts which are there, right? These creditors amounts, like I purchased goods maybe somewhere, maybe before something like this COVID season which is there, and then after COVID season the value of that particular purchase is entirely different. But what happens when I'm recording the same value at which I purchased before the COVID season. So that is again one thing. So here you are not calculating the assets, liabilities, expenses, incomes. None of these which are there are related to that particular time period in which accounts are written. So what happens? There is a huge impact on your assets and liabilities which are there, huge impact on your fixed assets, on your expenses, on your incomes, on the gross profit, on the losses which are being earned by an or have an impact on various things like inaccurate presentation of financial statements during the changes in price levels. So when I'm talking about financial statements, they are entirely different, they are not accurate, right? Unrealistic and imaginary inflated book profits in times of rise in prices due to overvaluation of stock and trade, writing of depreciation on fixed assets at a lower rate. What exactly do I mean by what we say, this particular point? That is when I'm talking about unrealistic, imaginary, and inflated book profits which are there due to overvaluation of stock, right? So what do I mean by that? When I say unrealistic and imaginary stock valuation, just imagine that I assumed that the opening stock which is there is 10,000. There are certain purchases being made. They are at a different value. Then the closing stock which is calculated is the value which is without my recording the inflationary pressures which are there. So what's happening? My closing stock is going to be at an imaginary valuation. Possibly I say the closing stock is 10,000 rupees, but if at all I take inflationary pressures into consideration, inflationary pressures into consideration means, let us imagine that the value of maybe a pen which is there before COVID season was something like or value of certain goods which were there, maybe it's 100 rupees. Now if at all I talk about inflation, the value of the rupee which I am going to pay, if I talk about these price indexes which are given by the government in the Central Statistics Organization which is there, in that if at all I take the value of that particular currency, possibly it might have reduced. So what happens? The price of that particular pen which I'm thinking is 100, right? Maybe that because of inflationary pressures, right, it can be 120, 130. The value of the currency is falling. I would think that that 20 rupees increase in the value of the rupee which is there, I am thinking is my profit. But that may not be the scenario. Maybe when I'm talking about the 20 rupees, out of the 20 rupees, maybe 15 rupees is only due to inflation, and only the 5 rupees is actual profit. But what I would do, I would think that wow, I got a 20 rupees profit, and then I would be very happy that on each and every product I'm getting 20 rupees or 20% profit. And then at the end of the year, what I would do is, I would be paying the dividends which are there, the taxes which are there on profits which are not at all real. So I am possibly paying, on the unreal profits which are there. Next, difficulty in replacement of fixed asset. Maybe I'm talking about an asset which is being purchased much, the way back 20 years back or so. So that particular asset, maybe I purchased that building which is there at 10 lakhs, but I wouldn't get a building now at 10 lakhs. The pathetic situation in financial accounting is that I still consider this particular building which is there at 10 lakhs, and in fact I would minus the depreciation on it, right? Once one thing is there that we are given the chance which is there that whenever the price indexes are changing, then appreciation of certain assets which are there, when price is totally changing after every 10 years, when there is the price index being given by the government. So, possibly once in 10 years, you would give the correct valuation of the asset. But then what happens? In all these 10 years, you've made a wrong calculation. Again, after the 10 years, I would make a wrong calculation. So, what's happening? When I want to replace the asset, purchase the asset, I don't have enough amount because I've always done the wrong calculation of depreciation. I've always kept aside from my P&L account very little amount. This particular little amount after 8 years, after 9 years is not at all useful for me to purchase a new asset. So it's like difficulty in replacement of the assets. Inadequacy of working capital. How inadequacy of working capital? Imagine that someone who thought before COVID that 2 lakhs working capital is more than enough for them. For that particular person, after COVID, the same working capital requirement is like an impossible task which is there. Why? That is not sufficient for him. Everything would be changing immediately after the this particular scenario. Everything would be changing. So what happens? What working capital I am thinking is not at all sufficient for me. Losses arising as a result of holding monetary current assets such as cash and receivables, and gains accruing from holding current liabilities as creditors. What do I mean by monetary current assets or monetary current liabilities? What happens is, when I'm talking about a debtor, this debtor who is there, possibly some customer have purchased my goods, right? Then he said he will pay after 6 months. Remember, he'll pay me exactly the same amount which is there before 6 months. But in the 6 months, due to inflationary pressures, the price might have increased for that because value of the currency has fallen. So what happens when I'm talking about the debtors? Actually, maybe he should pay, 10,000, and due to inflationary pressures, maybe he should pay 12,000. But you know what happens? He would still pay you 10,000. It means you are getting a loss due to holding a current asset. It means that asset that is stopped, it's not being paid. When he pays, he'll pay you only that much amount. He will not pay you more amount. So actually you should be earning 12,000 after 6 months, but the point is that he will still pay you 10,000 only. Why? Already in the transaction, when we have made settlement on sale of goods to him, we told him that he has to pay 10,000. So वो क्या करेगा? 10,000 ही pay करेगा. So that 10,000 will be paid by him. So what is happening to us? We are in a loss. That is called as the loss arising as a result of holding monetary asset. Okay. Similarly, the gain accruing from holding current liabilities. Current liabilities, what would happen is that, maybe same situation now, I am on the other side. That is, I have purchased goods which are there, purchased goods, 1 lakh goods which are there. Maybe that 1 lakh goods I purchased some 8 months back, and he says that you can pay the amount after 10 months or at the end of the year, something like that. He gives me the time. there. Now when it's happening that I'm paying the same 1 lakh. It means I'm holding that particular current liability which is there, but still paying 1 lakh. But due to inflationary pressures, maybe, I will have to pay something like maybe 1,20,000. All right, that is not taken into consideration. I'm still taking into consideration, exactly the amount of that 1 lakh only. Right. So when I'm talking about inflations which are there, your accounts, they would always give you an entirely different picture, right? Maybe a wrong calculation of profits which are there. Okay, and a wrong what we say view on your assets, on your liabilities which are there, right? So here what is that we are trying to do in inflation accounting is being done is that we are trying to calculate all these profits, losses due to holding the goods for a long term period, or the assets, or the monetary current assets which are there, or the current liabilities which are there. So our intention here is that you are trying to calculate the correct value. Now, when it comes to a question as to whether government accepts inflation accounting, no, government doesn't accept. Income tax authorities do not accept. Inflation accounting is not being accepted by income tax authorities. Okay, right. Now, what exactly is this particular inflationary accounting methods which are there, or the techniques which are there in price level changes or the inflation accounting. So when I'm talking about inflation accounting, the methods which we have is that I would be having first current purchasing power. One is the current purchasing power which is there. So I would have the current purchasing power technique, right? Second one which is there is that I would have replacement technique which is there, replacement cost accounting technique. Then I would have the current value accounting, and the last one is current cost accounting which is there. Basically, CPP method and CCA method, which are they are very, very important for us for our problems. Also in this chapter we do have problems. Now, what exactly is current purchasing power technique which is there? Okay. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about methods or techniques, the first technique which is there is CPP method, as already being told, right? What exactly is this particular CPP method? What exactly is this particular CPP method, which is a current purchasing power technique, right? First thing which we have to understand is that whenever inflation is being taken into consideration, how do I convert it to the current value? The current value which is there is always being taken on the basis of the consumer price index or the wholesale price index which is being given by RBI. This will be taken as the conversion base of these historical costs which are there. So RBI would be giving us the values, and then whenever we want to convert in our accounts, then we are supposed to convert on the basis of this particular consumer price index or the wholesale price index, whichever is being given by RBI, right? So here first thing, what is that we are trying to do? We are, as it's given here, we are trying to keep the records which are there, the financial statements which are there, right? On the conventional historical basis, but we will convert them into the current purchasing power of the currency at the end of the accounting period. So at the end, what we'll do is, whatever P&L account is there, whatever balance sheet is there, whichever items are to be changed, all these will be adjusted on the basis of the price index which has been given by RBI. So the main objective here is to take the changes in the value of money as a result of changes in the general price level which is there. So whenever general price level is changing, what is the impact on your accounts? That is to be recorded. So here you are trying to, present your financial statement. Keep in mind, I have to present financial statements according to what income tax authority says. That is, it has to be only in the historical cost concept, which is the cost concept which we have in accounting, right? So going concern cost concept, on that basis only we should record it. But here what happens is, I will also try to convert the same which is there, all the relevant items which are there, into the inflationary values. In that also, when I'm taking, I am going to, take, in that I'm going to take into consideration, only those items which have relevance. It's not that each and every item is going to be, blindly converted into the wholesale price index or the general price index which is being given by RBI. No, all will not have the same way of calculation. They have a particular procedure which we are talking about. Okay, so when I'm talking about CPP, I'm going to take, what we say, the general price index which is being given by RBI, and on that basis I'm going to make the changes which are there into my accounts, right? So how would I do? I would pick up few relevant items and then do the changes which are there. So the first thing we have to understand is, what is the mechanism related to this particular conversion of your financial statements into your inflationary pressures, that is inflation accounts. So what I'll do, first thing, I'm first, going to understand what exactly is the conversion technique. It means, how do I convert my historical cost which is there into inflationary pressures. The thing is very simple. You are going to first calculate conversion factor. First, conversion factor is nothing else but current price index divided by previous price index at the date of existing figure. It means what? So when I'm talking about, maybe I'm talking about certain assets which are there, maybe I'm talking about certain liabilities which are there, I would see what is the index on that date, what is the index today. So maybe if the price index on that day is 100, that now is 110. So I would calculate the conversion factor. Current price index is 110 divided by previous price index is 100. I would calculate how much is the conversion factor which is there. Right. Now what I would do? I would do the converted figure. Historical figure is there. I'll multiply this conversion factor. Then I will get the converted figure which is there. So, when I'm talking about some amount which is there, let us imagine that I'm talking about an asset here is given illustration 1. A building was being purchased in 1982 at a price of 80,000. Can you when I'm talking about a building being purchased in 1982 at a price of 80,000, the general price index at that time was 150, he says. But that the convert, he says, at present, that is, convert the figure in current rupees on 31st December 1999 when the index stood at 300. So now what's happening? Current price is 300. The old price, that is the price in 1982 when I have purchased that particular building, was 150. So my conversion factor would be, current price index, which is there, divided by previous price index. So when I'm talking about that 300 divided by 150, I would get 2. So converted value is how much now? Historical cost is 80,000. 80,000 into the conversion factor. The converted value is now 1,60,000. So I would say building which is there is at present. Okay. So the converted value which is there is 80,000 into 2. I am getting 1,60,000. Next is given you that there is a particular purchase. Second illustration you see. Second problem given there, that Mr. A has purchased a piece of land. At what value did he purchase? He purchased it at 50,000. Right, when the general price index was 125. He sold this piece of land in 1999 at 1,05,000 when the price index was 300. Calculate the profit or loss on the sale which is there. You know what we practically do? From 50,000, you will minus all the depreciation, if any, and then you'll find out the book value, and then you are selling it at 1,05,000. We would be so happy. Wow, we are getting a great profit which is there in the sale. This is what we project in our financial accounting. But what is the real fact? See, purchased at 50,000, selling price is 1,05,000. First convert them into the converted value. So when I'm talking about converted value, 50,000 which is there into 300 divided by 125. What is that? The purchasing price previous index. So when I'm getting the value, I'm getting 1,20,000. Are you getting? The purchase value is at 125. Now the current price index is 300. So if I look at that, my converted value of this particular land piece which is there is 1,20,000. In the previous scenario, which is there in historical cost, what am I thinking? Wow, great, I'm getting a profit of 55,000. But if I take inflationary pressures, what is happening? I am getting a loss of 15,000. Remember, these things are not being taken into consideration in, normal accounting, which is there. You are not writing that there is a loss. You are still thinking, wow, great, I have something like a profit of, 55,000, which is there, right? So, okay. So when I'm going to the next problem, now in the previous two problems which are there, what we have seen is, we have seen how exactly inflation, brings you the correct value of your assets. In first problem, we have done the purchase, the building which is being purchased, we have seen the value was entirely different. Right, in the second problem though, we thought there is a profit of 55,000, but actually we had a loss of 15,000. Right, now let us see how does this impact on the shares. Does the shares which are there now, illustration 3 says a company held shares in XYZ company which it bought for 21,000 in 1979 when an index of the general level of prices stood at 105. So he says they have made purchases in 1979. They have made the purchases and the price level those days was 105. At the end of 1998, the market price which is there of the shares has come to 18,000 rupees, and the index is at that particular time at the end of 1998 is 125. At the end of 1999, the market price of the share was 20,000 rupees and the index at that particular time is 130. So his question is, calculate the CPP value, current purchasing power, which is there at the end of 1998 and at the end of 1999. Next, under CPP accounting, what is the profit or loss which would be shown in respect of shares? So if at all I'm talking about 1998, in 1998 when the market price has come to 18,000, do I have a profit or a loss? So it says you calculate what is the profit or the loss which is there. And then he says at the end of 1999, what in fact the gain or loss in the purchasing power in respect of the shares during this particular 1999. So he's asking us now, value of the share in 79 was 21,000. The general price stood at 105, and he's asking us find out the converted values which are there at the end of each year. So at the end of 1998, how much is the value? At the end of 1999, how much is the value? Conversion values are as simple as this. You simply take historical cost and multiply with the conversion factor, and conversion factor is again nothing else but it is the current price index divided by the previous price index at which that particular transaction has taken place. So now I'm trying to find out what is the value of this particular 21,000 rupees which is there at in 1998 and in 1999. So price index is how much? 105. In 1998, what is the price index? 125. So currently, I have to find out the conversion factor. How much is the conversion factor? 125 by 105. So if I do this, I'll get the conversion factor which is there. This conversion factor, I have to multiply with the historical cost. So I have the historical cost which is there, 21,000 ka historical cost. So that 21,000 into the conversion factor, I'm getting the value in 1998 as 25,000 rupees. And when I'm talking about 1999, the value has then become, the price index is increased, and in 1999 it's 130. So now current price index is 130 divided by the previous index is 105. This is my conversion factor. That multiplied by historical cost, I'm getting a price of 26,000. Second question is asked. So first, what did we do? We have calculated the converted values. Now what am I doing? I'm calculating the cost price of the share which is there in 79, taking the value of 98, taking the value of 99, finding out what is the profit or the loss which I'm getting in that particular year. So I am taking there. Now check. In 79, I have a value of 21. In 98, I have a value of 25. 99, I have value at 26. So do I have a profit or a loss in the year 1998? Now, in 1998, my current purchasing power, that is the converted value which is there, is 25,000. What is the cost price which we had? 21,000. It means, you in fact have lost that 4,000 rupees which is there. There is a loss in the value. It should have been higher, but the thing is what you are purchasing, you're not able to get that much. It means you are getting a loss due to inflationary. Remember, I am not selling it. So when I am trying to sell it, I will get the actual loss or the actual profits. Here, I am only trying to find out, with the help of converted value, my value should have been 25,000. But how much is the value? 21,000. It means the loss in my value in 98 is 4,000. In 99, my value should have been, according to inflation, 26,000. But the value still is 21,000 only. It means I'm getting a loss which is there of 5,000 in the year 1999. Now find out, if you are selling it, are you getting a profit or loss which is there? My CPP value, that is the current purchasing power value which is there, is 25,098, 26,099. What is the market price? It means if I'm selling, how much price am I selling it to? Here what's happening? Actual value is 25, but you are selling hardly at 18,000. So you are getting a loss of 7,000. 25,000 minus 8,000, you're getting a loss of 7,000. Why? If I take the converted value should have been 25, but I am able to sell only 18. Therefore, I have a huge loss of 7,000, which is there in 1998. And what is the actual loss which I am going to get in 1999? 26,000 is the converted value, and the actual loss is 26 minus 8,000. So 6,000 I'm getting the actual loss which is there in my shares. Right. So here what's happening? I would, think possibly 21,000 ka share I am selling in 98 at 18,000. Right. तो क्या होगा? I would get 21 minus 8. I have a 3,000 loss. You would think. No, but you are getting a loss of 7,000. That 3,000 you are thinking is a loss, but you also have one more loss of 4,000. So actually inflationary loss is 4,000. The real loss is 3,000. 4 plus 3, 7,000 is the loss in 98. And in 99, 26,000 is converted value. Right. You are thinking the value of the shares is 21,000. Right. And you are selling the 26,000 for 20,000. So you have an actual real loss, actual loss which is here 6,000. Out of this, what happens? The loss which you are thinking in financial terms is 21,000 minus 20, that's 1,000. And inflationary loss which is there is a 5,000 loss. So practically I have a loss of 6,000. All right. This is not taken into consideration, in financial accounting. And you unnecessarily would give a wrong picture in financial accounting, and then you would think that possibly I have a less loss or I have a more profit, and then give wrong pictures in accounting.